Soviet steel that ruled the skies from Korea to Afghanistan. From subsonic interceptors to Mach 2 monsters, every fighter told a story of Cold War aerospace ambition. These weren't just aircraft, they were instruments of superpower projection, flying in the colors of dozens of nations, dueling with NATO jets over 3 continents. Some became legends. Others became cautionary tales. This is every Warsaw Pact fighter aircraft of the Cold War. First generation jets. Let's begin with the pioneers that brought Soviet air power into the jet age. MiG-9, the Soviet Union's very first jet fighter. Rushed into service in 1946, just one day after the rival Yak-15, it represented Stalin's desperate push to catch up with German and British jet technology. Powered by twin BMW-derived turbojets, it was underpowered and difficult to fly. Most served as trainers rather than frontline fighters. By 1950, it was already obsolete, replaced by far superior designs. Yakovlev Yak-15, the emergency stopgap that beat the MiG-9 into service by hours. Soviet engineers literally bolted a single turbojet under a modified Yak-3 propeller fighter fuselage. The result was crude but flyable. It gave Soviet pilots their first taste of jet performance, while better designs were still on the drawing board. Production ended after just 280 units. Its brief service proved one thing: the jet age had arrived, ready or not. MiG-15, Faggot, the fighter that shocked the West. When this swept-wing interceptor appeared over Korea in 1950, it outperformed every American fighter except the brand new F-86 Sabre. Its powerful Klimov engine, based on the British Nene, gave it devastating climb rate and altitude performance. MiG-15 seconds flown by Soviet, Chinese, and North Korean pilots tore through B-29 bomber formations. Over 12,000 were built. Even after Korea, it served as the standard Warsaw Pact fighter trainer for decades. MiG-17, Fresco, the MiG-15's deadlier younger brother. Introduced in 1952, it featured a redesigned wing, afterburner, and better handling at high speeds. In Vietnam, MiG-17 seconds flown by North Vietnamese pilots proved that subsonic fighters could still kill supersonic jets through superior maneuverability. American F-4 Phantoms learned to fear the Fresco's tight turning circle. It remained in production until 1958, with over 10,000 built. Some African and Asian air forces flew them into the 1,990 seconds. Supersonic revolution. Next on the list, the fighters that broke the sound barrier. MiG-19, Farmer, the Soviet Union's first true supersonic fighter. Entering service in 1955, it could exceed Mach 1-inch level flight, not just in a dive. Twin engines gave it impressive power, but early models suffered from dangerous handling characteristics at high speeds. Despite the problems, it represented a quantum leap in Soviet capability. China produced thousands as the Shenyang J, 6J6, and Pakistani MiG-19 seconds shot down Indian aircraft well into the 1,970 seconds. Sukhoi Su-7, Fitter, the ground attack fighter that conquered Third World battlefields. Originally designed as a fighter, its marginal air-to-air performance led to conversion as a fighter bomber. What it lacked in sophistication, it made up in toughness. Capable of carrying heavy bomb loads from rough airstrips, it served in Arab, Indian, and African air forces throughout the Cold War. Its rugged construction meant it could take battle damage and keep flying. MiG-21 Fishbed, the Kalashnikov of fighter jets. More than 11,000 were built, making it the most produced supersonic fighter in history. Introduced in 1959, this delta-winged interceptor combined blistering speed, simple maintenance, and lethal effectiveness. In Vietnam, Egyptian, and Middle Eastern skies, MiG-21 seconds proved their worth against Western aircraft. The design was so successful that India, China, and Czechoslovakia all built their own versions. Dozens of air forces still operate upgraded variants today. Yakovlev, Yak-25, Flashlight, the interceptor the West barely saw. Designed specifically for all-weather interception, this twin-engine fighter carried radar and missiles for hunting NATO bombers in any conditions. It never saw combat, spending its career on alert duty along Soviet borders. Its side-by-side seating arrangement was unusual for Soviet fighters. By the mid-1960 seconds, better interceptors had replaced it. Most were scrapped, making surviving examples extremely rare. Sukhoi Su-9, Fishpot, the delta-winged interceptor built to stop American bombers. Armed exclusively with air-to-air missiles and a powerful radar, it had no guns whatsoever, a controversial choice that assumed all combat would occur beyond visual range. Over 1,100 were built for Soviet homeland defense. It never fired a shot in anger. Its lack of export sales meant few outside the Soviet military ever saw one. The design evolved into the improved Su-11 and Su-15, Sukhoi Su-11, Fishpot C, the refined evolution of the Su-9. This interceptor featured improved radar, better missiles, and enhanced performance at high altitude. Like its predecessor, it served exclusively in Soviet air defense forces, never seeing export or combat. Pilots appreciated its reliability, but criticized its limited versatility. By the 1,970 seconds, the more capable Su-15 was replacing it on the front lines. Mach 2 interceptors. Moving on to the speed demons built to catch supersonic bombers. MiG-2 Foxbat, the titanium terror that terrified the Pentagon. Capable of Mach 2.83, this was the fastest combat aircraft ever deployed by the Soviet Union. Designed to intercept the B-70 Valkyrie bomber that never entered service, it became a strategic reconnaissance and interceptor instead. Its massive engines and steel construction made it a brute force engineering triumph. When Soviet pilot Viktor Belenko defected to Japan in 1976 with a MiG-25, Western analysis revealed both impressive speed and primitive electronics. Iraqi Foxbats scored kills against Iranian 4 seconds in the 1,980 seconds. Sukhoi Su-15 Flagon, the interceptor that shot down Korean Airlines Flight 007. This delta-winged fighter served as the Soviet Union's primary air defense interceptor throughout the 1,970 seconds and 1,980 seconds. Armed with radar, guided, and infrared missiles, over 1,300 were built exclusively for Soviet service. Its twin-engine configuration provided good performance, but limited maneuverability made it unsuitable for dogfighting. The 1,983 incident, which killed 269 civilians, permanently stained its reputation. It was retired in the early 1990 seconds. Tupolev Tu-28. Fiddler, the biggest fighter ever built. This enormous, long-range interceptor was designed to patrol the vast Arctic frontier, protecting Soviet territory from American bombers approaching over the North Pole. With a wingspan rivaling some bombers, it could carry massive air-to-air missiles and enough fuel to stay airborne for hours. Only about 200 were built. It never saw combat. Most Westerners never saw one until after the Cold War ended. Third-generation multi-role fighters. Continuing with the versatile fighters that could both dogfight and bomb. MiG-23 Flogger, the Soviet Union's first variable sweep wing fighter. Introduced in 1970, its swing wings allowed efficient cruising and devastating supersonic performance. Export versions served in Syria, Libya, Iraq, and Cuba, seeing extensive combat. Syrian MiG-23 seconds faced Israeli F-15 seconds and F-16 seconds, with mixed results. The aircraft's potential was often limited by pilot training and tactics. Over 5,000 were built. Its complexity made it less popular than the simpler MiG-21, but it represented a major technological leap. MiG-27 Flogger D, the ground attack variant that traded air combat for mud-moving capability. Based on the MiG-23 airframe, it featured a modified nose, improved cockpit visibility, and enhanced weapons delivery systems. The Soviet Air Force used it extensively in Afghanistan, where its ability to carry heavy bomb loads proved valuable. India became its largest export customer, license producing hundreds. The downgraded export versions were notably less capable than Soviet models. Sukhoi Su-17 Fitter, the variable sweep wing makeover of the Su-7. Soviet engineers added swing wings to the proven fitter design, dramatically improving takeoff performance and range. The result was a rugged fighter-bomber that combined the Su-7's toughness with modern capabilities. It saw combat in Afghanistan, Angola, and the Middle East. Syrian and Libyan Su-17 seconds faced Western aircraft with limited success. Poland and other Warsaw Pact nations operated them until the 1,990 seconds. Sukhoi Su-24 Fencer, the Soviet answer to the F-111. This all-weather strike aircraft featured variable sweep wings, terrain-following radar, and side-by-side seating. Introduced in 1974, it gave Warsaw Pact forces a genuine deep strike capability against NATO targets. Its sophisticated electronics and heavy payload made it a formidable bomber. In Afghan combat, Su-24 seconds delivered precision strikes in mountainous terrain. Post-Cold War conflicts proved it remained a potent weapon system well into the 21st century. Fourth generation air superiority. Let's look at the fighters built to match the F-15 and F-16. MiG-29 Fulcrum, the lightweight fighter that could dogfight with anything in the sky. Introduced in 1983, this twin-engine multi-role fighter combined excellent maneuverability with beyond visual range missile capability. Its helmet-mounted sight allowed pilots to target enemies simply by looking at them. After German reunification, Luftwaffe pilots flying inherited East German MiG-29 seconds shocked NATO by outmaneuvering F-16 seconds in close combat. Dozens of nations operate them today. Its reliability and combat effectiveness made it one of the most successful Soviet exports. Sukhoi Su-27 Flanker, the heavy fighter that became a legend. This massive twin-engine air superiority fighter was designed to counter the F-15 Eagle, first flying in 1977. It entered service in 1985 with incredible range, powerful radar, and devastating maneuverability. The flanker's aerobatic displays at air shows revealed capabilities Western fighters couldn't match. Its development continued long after the Cold War, spawning a family of variants that dominate Russian and Chinese air forces. Many experts consider it one of the finest fighter designs ever created. MiG-31 Foxhound, the ultimate evolution of the MiG-25 bloodline. This heavy interceptor combined Foxbat speed with modern avionics, true look-down, shoot-down radar, and the ability to engage multiple targets simultaneously. Introduced in 1981, it was designed to hunt cruise missiles and bombers across vast distances. Unlike its predecessor, the MiG-31 could actually dogfight if necessary. It remains in Russian service today, regularly intercepting NATO reconnaissance aircraft. Only about 500 were built, making it relatively rare. Export downgrade models. Next on the list, the deliberately degraded fighters sold to Soviet allies. MiG-21 F-13 Fishbed C. The export model that spread Soviet air power worldwide. This simplified version of the MiG-21 removed sophisticated avionics and weapon systems, making it cheaper and easier to maintain. Despite the downgrades, it remained a potent fighter in skilled hands. North Vietnamese pilots flying these variants shot down dozens of American aircraft. India, Egypt, and numerous other nations built their air forces around it. The performance gap between Soviet and export models often proved decisive in combat. MiG-23 MS Flogger E, the monkey model that gave the Flogger a bad reputation. Export customers received this version with downgraded radar, inferior missiles, and simplified systems. Syrian and Libyan pilots flying these degraded aircraft faced Israeli and American fighters with predictably poor results. The losses weren't entirely the aircraft's fault. Pilot training and tactics mattered enormously. Still, the performance gap between Soviet and export MiG-23 seconds was substantial and controversial. Naval fighters. Moving on to the carriers, jets designed for Soviet naval aviation. Yakovlev Yak-36 Forger, the Soviet Union's troubled VTOL experiment. This vertical takeoff fighter deployed on Kiev-class carriers, giving the Soviet Navy its first seagoing fixed-wing aircraft. The concept was ambitious, but execution was flawed. Limited range, poor payload capacity, and dangerous handling characteristics made it barely combat capable. Western analysts debated whether it was a serious weapon or merely a propaganda tool. It never fired a shot in combat. By the late 1980 seconds, conventional carrier aircraft were replacing it. Sukhoi Su-33 Flanker D, the navalized flanker that arrived just as the Cold War ended. This carrier-capable variant featured folding wings, strengthened landing gear, and a reinforced structure for arrested landings. Designed for the Admiral Kuznetsov aircraft carrier, it combined the Su-27's superb performance with naval operations capability. Only a small number were built before Soviet collapse halted production. Today, they remain the primary fighter aboard Russia's sole operational carrier, seeing combat over Syria. Eastern Bloc domestic designs. Continuing with the fighters designed by Soviet allies. IAR-93, Romania's ambitious attempt at independent fighter development. Co-developed with Yugoslavia as the Orao, this subsonic ground attack aircraft represented Eastern European technological aspirations. Its twin engines and simple design emphasized reliability over sophistication. Romania operated them through the Cold War's end. Limited production meant few were built. The aircraft proved that even smaller Warsaw Pact nations could design and build jet fighters, even if they couldn't match Soviet performance. PZL TS-11 Iskra, Poland's homegrown jet trainer that could fight. This lightweight aircraft served as both an advanced trainer and light attack platform. Its simple, reliable design made it popular with Polish Air Force pilots. While not a frontline fighter, it could carry rockets and bombs for ground attack missions. Thousands of Polish pilots learned their trade in Iskras. Some remained in service well into the 21st century, a testament to solid engineering. Czechoslovak variants. Let's look at the licensed and modified fighters from Czechoslovakia. Aero L-29 Delphin, the Warsaw Pact's standard jet trainer. This Czech-designed aircraft became the primary training platform for Eastern Bloc air forces. Simple, rugged, and economical to operate, over 3,600 were built. While primarily a trainer, it could mount weapons, pylons for light attack duties. Egyptian and Syrian L-29 seconds even flew combat missions during Middle Eastern conflicts. Its widespread use meant nearly every Warsaw Pact fighter pilot learned to fly in one. Aero L-39 Albatros, the advanced trainer that replaced the L-29, introduced in 1972, this Czech design featured better performance, improved ergonomics, and modern avionics. It became one of the most successful military trainers ever built, with over 2,900 produced. Numerous air forces still operate them today as trainers and light attack aircraft. Its reliability and relatively low operating costs made it popular even with non-Warsaw Pact nations. Several civilian operators fly them in airshows worldwide. Experimental and limited production. Next on the list, the rare fighters that barely saw service. MiG-105 Spiral, the spaceplane fighter that never was. This lifting body experimental aircraft was designed to reach orbital altitude, intercept enemy satellites, and glide back to Earth. Only one suborbital test vehicle was built, conducting atmospheric flight tests in the 1,970 seconds. The program collapsed due to technical challenges and budget constraints. It represented Soviet ambitions to militarize space. Today, the sole prototype sits in a Moscow museum, a relic of Cold War aerospace dreams. Sukhoi T-4 Sotka, the Mach 3 bomber interceptor that Stalin's desk killed. This radical titanium aircraft was designed to cruise at 3 times the speed of sound, intercepting American bombers before they reached Soviet territory. Only one prototype flew before the program was cancelled in favor of cheaper alternatives. Its canards and blended wing body design influenced later Soviet aircraft development. Had it entered production, it would have been the fastest fighter ever deployed. Yakovlev Yak-141 Freestyle, the supersonic VTOL fighter that arrived too late. This revolutionary aircraft combined vertical takeoff capability with supersonic performance, something Western jets still haven't achieved operationally. The prototype flew successfully in 1989, demonstrating hover capability and supersonic flight. But the Soviet Union collapsed before production could begin. Only 2 prototypes were built. Russian designers later sold the technology to Lockheed Martin, influencing F-35 development. From first-generation jets to fourth-generation superfighters, these Warsaw Pact aircraft defined Cold War aerial combat. Soviet engineers created some legendary designs and some notorious failures, but every fighter represented the Eastern Bloc's determination to match Western air power. Which one surprised you most? Let me know in the comments below.